For the newly indoctrinated, Jim Butcher's The Dresden Files follows the story of a professional wizard in Chicago. We started our podcast as a way to help break down the series' most important moments, characters, and lore. This is McAnally's Dresden Files Pubcast by Free Flow Rambling. Conjure at it by your own risk. Welcome to the McAnally's Pubcast, brought to you by Free Flow Rambling. This is episode 8.18, Exorcism and Seductions, where we are covering the novel Grave Peril. My name is Tanzin, and I'm joined by Maggie.
Hello, hello.
And Jess.
Hey.
Chapter 32. Dresden, Michael, and Thomas face off with the nightmare that is possessing Lydia. Dresden attempts to exorcise the demon Azorthragal, but it fails to work. Dresden realizes who the nightmare really is, and finally evicts Kravos from Lydia. The trio take Bob and cut through the Nevernever to get to Bianca's mansion. As they almost make it through, Lydia catches up to them.
So Mama went and got herself infected and diseased.
Well, only possibly.
COVID scare.
Yeah.
So we've ejected her. We've sent her away.
I ejected myself. I said I wasn't coming. I tested negative, but somebody in my household tested positive. So out of the goodness of my heart, I decided not to pass it on to Tanzin and her... Not roommates, I was going to say. Stop laughing, Jess. So out of the kindness of my heart, I decided to not pass it on to Tanzin and anyone she's associated with, and Jessica, because she's works with the elderly regularly.
She'd never let you live it down?
That's right. No, I'm just afraid of her passing it on to all the people she has to actually look after.
So Dresden is currently hurtling towards a fireplace, but is caught by Thomas, breaking his ribs in the process. And that
Thomas's ribs, thankfully, not Dresden's.
Yes.
Way to play favoritism.
Well, I just meant, vampire and all, he's got the advantage. So that's why we have vampires and things, so they can take all the beatings, so the puny mortals can go about their day. Because if Dresden busted up his ribs right now, that would make the next couple chapters a lot harder than they already are going to be. Whereas Thomas will be fine again in like an hour, so...
Right, he's already in pretty sad shape, so...
Yeah, although... this is Thomas's shape we're talking about, and he does come running out of the shower in nothing but a towel. So...
That's a nice shape.
We do get that. See, it's not always just the women all the time. We get Thomas.
I honestly don't recall Thomas being as integral to this story as he apparently is, though. Like, I remember meeting him in Grave Peril, and then I'm like, all right, see you in the dungeon later on. Like, I don't know, I fully forgot that he actually, I won't say redeemed, because what he did was pretty bad, but I had forgotten how much help he actually does contribute to the end of this book.
It is the end, but in these next couple of chapters or whatever, he does come back to help out, and it is semi-significant. Well, more than semi-significant, fairly significant. Considering that he starts off by, saving Dresden's life here, takes the smash, and he's like, are you alright? He's like, just go. He's like, I'll be fine. But Lydia / whoever's possessing her, is less happy. So now he's just pissed at Thomas and adds Thomas to the list.
Michael threatens the nightmare with the sword, but it reminds him that the blood of an innocent will undo it. And Dresden tells Michael that they can't hurt Lydia because she is...
Lydia.
Because she's her, but possessed.
Yeah, exactly. So he's thinking... I think Michael's jumping in thinking it's more like facing off against Demon Harry in the graveyard. Right, so he's just gonna, pulls up Amarachius, and Dresden's like, you can't, like, that's actually Lydia, like, she's just being possessed right now, so if you kill her, I like how he puts it, or whatever, he's like, anything we do to Lydia's body, she's going to have to live with later. So, and the possession is all like, I don't care, and it was like, basically pushing up against the sword, going, go ahead, because obviously...
Yeah.
Well, obviously it doesn't care. Go ahead and run Lydia through, like, fine, you may have lost a vessel right then to taunt them with, but you'd wreck the sword and all of that. So, Michael's like, well, what the heck can I do? But, again, it's kind of, just the difference between Michael and Dresden here, because Dresden's like, when she rushed at me, I just get grabbed. She rushes at Michael, and he's got the experience and the training, right? So he lets the sword fall, grabs her, flips her over, tosses her on the couch, whatever, right? And that's the difference right now between Michael and Dresden, and why they can do a lot of similar things, and why Dresden has a lot of oomph and stuff that Michael can't do. This is, again, where Michael's just been in the game longer and has literally that training.
So Dresden rushes to get items for an exorcism. So gets candles and salt, and Michael holds Lydia down while he's doing this.
Yeah, I like that. He goes, and yeah, it's like typical Dresden. He's like, my room is a mess and crap like that, so he just starts flinging more shit around to find it. But he gets the trick birthday candles. He doesn't just go and grab some candles. He gets the "you can't blow me out" candles. I'm like, that actually sounds really awesome to have for any exorcism. I'm like, first thing you see in like every movie, whenever they're doing something creepy, and it's usually like in like some, like abandoned church or someplace like that, but it's like, yeah, the wind always comes through and blows everything out. So I'm like, damn it, I am totally stocking up on some of these.
Just the idea of Jim Butcher walking down the Dollarama aisle and like, what can I use? What would a wizard buy? Trick candles. What would it? Exorcism. And then he's walking down. He's like, let's see. Shaving cream? Yeah, we can use shaving cream for something. It'll come up. There'll be a potion. Like, what else? Crayons? Yeah, I need wax for shit. Yeah, like.
He's always cutting the corners.
Fully, right? Like, I can't think of any specific examples right now, but we've seen in the past how many other times he's like, you can just go to Walmart for this shit.
Well,
it's
it
fine.
comes up in the future, but there's Play-Doh.
See?
Play-Doh.
He uses Play-Doh, and then again, he makes some comment about... Well, actually, I think he does it with the candles in the first part of this, where he's like, white for purity, and he's like, also because they're the cheapest ones at Walmart. But I'm pretty sure he has a Play-Doh moment like that, too, where it's like he's using different colored Play-Doh for, again, he attaches different meanings to it, and that's the only reason it matters, really. But I have a feeling there was something in there about it being cheaper than, like, something else or whatever, too, so... Yeah. I'm like, yeah, you could go with, like, uranium or something, but if you can make Play-Doh work, then just go with your Play-Doh.
Perfect.
So he's, like, keeping busy, so Michael's wrestling with her while Harry tries to set all this up, so he dumps the salt circle around them and sets up his candles.
I really like to just, like, think of this moment where you've just got, like, Michael and Thomas and, the Nightmare all struggling in this room and putting up a little bit of a fight, but mostly just, like, whatever that, like, Newton maybe, equal and opposite, they're just kind of like nothing's really happening. They're just whatever, tension against each other. And meanwhile, you've got Harry like a ping pong ball going doop, 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 around them like a crazy person. And like, especially like, at least Michael, even if he doesn't really agree with magic, is used to this. And even maybe the Nightmare is used to this as well. But like, even like Thomas is just like, okay. Like,
What's going on?
used to a little bit more like physical altercations at this point in his life, and you just got Harry just like tearing apart his own apartment, like running around like la la la.
It's definitely a good image. I would like to think that Thomas is somewhat used to magical things of some nature.
I think he's aware of magic, but it wouldn't be the same.
But not Harry. He's not used to Harry's style of magic. And that, again, like, Thomas is obviously, like, at the party, right? He's like, he showed up in a limo and you want me to give you a ride home. I'm like, Thomas is used to the finer things in life. So, yeah, if there's any, like, wizardly stuff going on, it's probably real, like, high-end and smooth around the Wraith household. And here's Harry in his, like, dingy basement apartment and, like, crap all over the place. And, yeah, exactly, flinging shaving cream cans out of the way to find his trick birthday candles to perform it. Like, so Thomas is probably just sitting naked because his towel came off when he got in front of Harry in the fireplace. So he's just sitting there naked with like his bruised ribs or whatever, while Michael basically has Lydia in this modified full Nelson, and Harry's just like tearing around in his bathrobe.
One of the most annoying things in my life is like one of my first ever jobs. The chef told me that we ran out of pepper and had me go break up the tiny little individual packet ones until he had enough for the recipe he needed.
Oh my god.
Oh, like open all
Like
the little
16 or something
takeout.
like that, right?
Was he
First
just pranking
job.
you?
He was just pranking me, but I
God.
fully believed
is
him.
this like the board stretcher?
So I'm there ripping up these shitty little packets, like just trying to like get enough pepper for him. And I'm just imagining like Harry's just like patting down his coat pockets, trying to gather up enough salt to use for a fucking ritual. Like, do I have an extra ketchup packet from Burger King? No, where's the salt?
Except remember, he just got up and was like puking and showered, so he's probably doing all this running around like his bathrobe. Actually, no, I think maybe he did. So you're right, he did go and get
Michael
dressed.
helped him get
at the
dressed.
beginning of this. Yeah, well, and then while Thomas was, because I think that's how the last chapter starts. Is Thomas goes to shower and Harry gets ready, and then they're talking about Lydia. So okay, fair enough. He might not be in his bathrobe anymore. But still, yeah.
And
exactly.
anyways, I'm not saying he'd be wearing the duster now anyways, but he could at least go pat down the pockets of the duster to find a salt packet.
Oh, yeah, no, that's true. He would totally be rummaging through everything. He did say, I will, unfortunately, though, you can't give him that. Because,
he grabbed salt from the kitchen, I know, but still.
Yeah, no, apparently the 5-pound bag of salt was also in his bedroom closet behind the shaving cream with the trick candles, so salt wasn't even in the kitchen. Like, he was able to get both from his bedroom. Because, exorcism, if you put it in the kitchen, he'll accidentally throw it in his SpaghettiOs.
I was going to say, if I've got to keep exorcism equipment somewhere, it wouldn't be the kitchen. But it would probably be in the basement. I guess he's really lucky that he didn't have to, show his secret lair to any of these people. Because, that would have been unfortunate. He doesn't trust Thomas that well. And it's probably even useful for Michael maybe to not... Well, Michael knows he was on the phone.
Michael already knows.
But still, it's useful that he had all of his exorcism equipment upstairs anyways and didn't have to tear back 18 rugs and be like, by the way, Thomas, this is here.
Right.
See, that's where he's thinking ahead occasionally, He's like, just in case I ever have to do a quick exorcism, A, have them nearby, and B, not have to reveal the secret lair to anybody who might be present. So, always keep your candles and your salt in your bedroom.
Plus, if I do want to make a pot of spaghetti, I don't have to go all the way downstairs.
That's true, too. Just pop into the bedroom real quick.
Yeah. Poor Susan. That's one goddamn gate boyfriend, and he's just like, let me get the candles, goes to his bedroom, let me get the salt for the pasta, goes to his bedroom.
I was gonna say, he also has, his wood-burning stove, so he probably, can you just imagine him setting up these non-blowing out candles under, a little... camp burner and then sticking his pot and his can of spaghetti out. This is also how he cooks his food, is with his stay lit candles.
So classy.
I'm a wizard, Harry. You're a wizard, Harry. Fine.
Oh my god. He must have had some, you're right. And don't get me wrong, I love Harry to death, obviously. But, the more we dissect bits of it like this, it's like, why the hell did Susan ever, especially after that first date? Really.
Really specifically, Susan, tell us exactly what it was about him that you were attracted to. I think, honestly, though, it all comes down to the excitement. She's a journalist. I think if she wasn't a journalist, she'd care a lot less. Not to, say anything against Harry, but I think a really big, drawing and staying power is just, okay, fine, you blow me off, but when I do see you, I get to hear about vampires, so...
Yeah, well, I was thinking even more just the initial, after that crazy first date for her to come back. And then, but yeah, I would like to think that exactly it's sort of the excitement, the interest that kept her coming back those first few times to get over the, crazy, the no heat in his apartment and the, salt in the bedroom and whatever. It's once she got to know him better, then you're like, oh, okay, fine. But it's yeah, you really have to figure it was a bunch of the reporter excitement.
Listen, you live through a demon toad once, you live through everything.
Right. It's one of those bonding moments. Mm-hmm. You don't get over that. So anyways, yeah, so Michael's all, hurry up, she's strong, and he's like, I know, and he runs around and does this thing, and tries to do his Flickumbicus again, one of my favorite spells of his. And so yeah, starts trying to exorcise this nightmare as Azorthragal. Azorthragal?
Yeah.
And you get it all building up, you get the energy rushing out, and sweeping out, and blah, 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 and him all being all shouty and dramatic, and nothing. Passover, leaving everything untouched.
Right, does not work at all.
Nope, not even a little bit.
Which is extra funny that this is the first time. Well, I guess
Thomas saw him, do some shit.
I'm just going to restart the whole thing. It's it's extra funny, though, to think that this is the first, flashy thing that Thomas gets to see. It's not, in the moment and dark and you're fighting for your life and distracted by other things, but the first time Thomas got to really sit back and just watch Harry work, and it's, nothing, and he's like, oh.
Big dud.
I risked everything for this guy. Okay.
Right? See, Thomas, I guess, has a more unique perspective on how Susan feels.
Thomas is the reason Susan's in the position she's in right now.
Well, that's
they don't get to be on the same team right now.
Well, but,
We currently hate Thomas.
I know,
He's
but
bad
he's
guy.
just so darn likable that even at this
I know
point
he's hot,
in
Mom,
this
but
book,
he killed Susan.
Well, not even just that, but I know, but I was going to say, it's just, he wrote him so darn well. He's such a good foil for Harry. They're both just such snarky little bitches. It's like, anywho.
The nightmare gets out of Michael's hold and pins Dresden. It begins to start strangling him. And he begins to recall sort of details up to this point and makes a realization just as he's about to pass out.
Again, all these usual, like, life flashing before your eye moments, where suddenly things clicked at the party just before it all went to shit. And here he's, getting the life choked out of him. He's like, oh, wait, maybe I missed something.
It's like that's the only way his brain functions properly is under extreme duress.
Talk about working well under pressure or whatever, I'm like, man, I used to think it was something when I left my homework last minute, but Dresden really takes it to, like, a new art form,
I was gonna say, like, I've only ever been able to write an essay in the final hours, but, like, Harry, damn, dude.
Right? Must be dying for brain to work really, really well.
So the nightmare suddenly stops attacking Dresden, and Dresden notices that Thomas is distracting Lydia with his vampiric seduction powers.
Mm-hmm. So, because they go through their little chit-chat, and I mean, I will say the nightmare points out, such a shame, all this time, and you didn't even know who it was after you. You didn't even know who else wanted revenge. So that's kind of the key that sort of clicks him off and starts. So while she's choking him and going through all of this stuff is when it finally, then all of a sudden, and I like it too, and he's like, I heard myself making very slight sounds, something like, like, yes, very eloquent, Dresden, as always. But yeah, so again, as usual, he's like figuring it out. He's like, oh, pity that I figured it out just when I'm going to die, kind of a thing. And his vision faded. And he's like, and then a second later, so does the pain. But instead of, like, dying, all of a sudden he's taking in a shaky breath. And yeah, Thomas has vamped out on Lydia and is getting all snuggly with her. And apparently it's a very effective distraction technique. But it's kind of funny because it kind of distracts Harry too. Harry takes some minutes taking it in, and he's like, stop staring, I'll give you a show later, you want to do something about this? And Dresden's like, oh shit, right, yeah.
Yeah, so he sets up another circle around them. But this time, he calls on the name Leonid Kravos, which successfully releases Lydia from the hold of the nightmare. He's figured it out.
So that's when he fight. Yeah, exactly. So that little of who else wants revenge on you suddenly clicks that, not, and she's taken by shock, right? Like, because he's like, yells the name where he's like, Leonid Kravos, I thundered. I repeated the name and saw Lydia's eyes fly wide open in shock. Begone, Kravos, you second-rate fire caller. Begone, begone. And with that, she goes, so yeah, Lydia's like, what the so yeah. And why are villains always like that? Like, they taunt and they taunt and they taunt, and then when you figure it out, they're like, oh, wait, you figured it out? It's like, well, you kept telling me until, like...
So the nightmare is gone, and Dresden checks in with Michael, who thinks his ribs are broken, can't really move very well. And then Harry discovers Thomas is still feeding off of Lydia. Classy guy, classy.
They're getting off. And he's like, hey, get away from her. And he's like, I'm hungry. It won't kill her. Not the first time.
She's totally willing.
Right?
Not the first time, like she's not already been drugged up and thrown around in the last 24 hours.
I'm sorry, Thomas, that's not how consent works.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Very much not.
No. So, luckily, Harry wins that stare down.
Yes, he does. Yeah.
So, Thomas fucks off, and Harry puts Lydia back to rights. Michael's a little bit fucked up.
Yeah, just a bit.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, but nothing too fatal or anything like that. He's just, beat up a bit from his fight.
Yeah, so Harry tells Michael what happened with Thomas and Lydia and sort of explains it. He's like, they're like that, the White Court seducers. They feed on lust, fear, hatred, emotions. But they always use lust to seduce their victims. They can force them to feel it, indulge in sex. That's how they feed. So we get that sort of clarification on the White Court a little bit.
Yeah, To which Harry's like, sex vampires, I know. He's like, still, it's interesting. And Michael's like, interesting? Harry, I wouldn't call it interesting. He's like, why not? He's like, whatever he used, it worked on the nightmare. He's like, caught it up. That means it's either some sort of ambient magic, or maybe the cold I felt works on everything around, or it's... And he's going all technical kind of pheromones and figuring out, like, the science magic geek portion of it. And Harry's just like, it's sex vampires. Stop it. Like, I don't want to discourage your scholarly pursuits, but yeah. Yeah, Michael's just, like, thinking more along the moralities and the not imprudence, modesty or whatever of it. And yeah, Harry's just, like, geeking out. It's like your typical, like, nerd or whatever, like, focusing on, like, the mechanics of, like, human reproduction rather than being, like, I think you're kind of missing the point of the, you know. Which is funny considering how much, like you say, Harry is usually the male gaze and all the sex and boobs and nothing under fire dresses, and then he's like actually gets to witness something between like a sex vampire and a victim, and he starts going all technical.
Well, fascinating.
He just looks
fascinating. Anyways, so he's a little bruised up. He's got some choking marks on his throat.
He starts to explain his whole puzzle piece thing that he came up with to Michael. And essentially, you know, it boils down to the fact that because they arrested Kravos that night instead of killing him, they got problems on their hands. Are bad. That's why you should probably kill supernatural baddies and not just let them live and have another
let the
chance.
Cops arrest them?
Yeah, you know? Mm-hmm. So we don't arrest Luke Garus, don't arrest
sorcerers.
Yeah. Just, you know, Murphy, take note of those 2 points.
Well, Dresden also theorizes that Mavra and Bianca were the ones that were tormenting the spirits to allow the instability in the Nevernever. Mm-hmm. That they were the ones that were...
Prep it all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And because Michael's like, well, we didn't kill him, he's still alive. And Dresden's like, dollars to donuts, he isn't. So he's like, just before the nightmare attack started, he figures he took himself out. Yeah. And he's like, can he do that? And he's like, I don't see why not. Like, with all the power and stuff like that... And with the border, like you say, all turbulent, it made it a lot easier. So they were all in this together. So now I don't know if I really understand, like, because I don't know that Kravos really would have had a reason to hook up with Mavra and Bianca before this. So it was like once he was busted and jailed, did he reach out to them? Did they come to him and be like, hey, so if you kill yourself, we can figure out this really nifty plan to get you out of jail and getting your revenge on everybody?
Or did he already know them, and that's where maybe he was learning some of his craft from?
That seems to be more my thinking, is that he met up with them in life, and altogether the 3 of them hatched this plan, and they prepped the
But veil. He wasn't planning on getting caught or anything, so what, you think he was just going to kill himself anyways?
That's what Harry's saying right now. He planned to kill himself, that's his whole plan. He wanted to kill himself so he could come back as a shade. He prepped himself to be full of vengeance so that he would purposely come back as a ghost with a vengeance. Like,
I figured that was more after he got busted.
Well, maybe so, but it seems like the way Harry's describing it is that, like, this man purposefully groomed himself into becoming so manic and stuff that when he died, he was forced to be a ghost with... I mean, the whole point of ghosts existing in the first place is that they've got issues. So he made himself have issues in life so that when he died, he would be then a ghost.
Yes, I get that at the last minute, but that's what I mean about I don't know whether he would have an association with them beforehand, because to me it feels like... Because he would have just carried on being a necromantic sorcerer bad guy, but he got busted, and now he's stuck in jail, and now he figures this is his best bet, whether he decides it himself or whether because they've reached out to him at this point. But yeah, so I think at that point, then he decides, like, well, I'm fucked, I might as well kill myself and come wreak some ghosty havoc.
Yeah, okay. In that case, I guess it wouldn't matter so much. But even then, so fine. He meets Mavra and Bianca. Even then, through that, we already know Bianca has contacts through the police anyways, so for whatever reason, when or how they met is a little bit irrelevant. Both sides clearly had the means one way or the other, whether it was before or after his death. Either way, 3 of them.
I guess it
had
just
a nice little plot going.
It's a little bit kind of like Leah and the sword, of how nicely that works out, that Leah ended up getting the sword so that she could give it to Bianca, so that Bianca could give it to Mavra. It's like, again, that was a lot of ifs, ands, or buts on
it's easy
that
being bad.
happening. So again, it just seems like, like for Bianca to did she have this party in the works beforehand, or did she suddenly throw the shindig together when Kravos got arrested? And then she's like, wait, we've got someone in jail who was, like, you know what I mean? I'm just like, chicken, egg, what came first? How did this all... It all works out nicely in the book, but when you start to sit down and wonder about the minutia of it, I'm like, wow,
head
how
out,
did this all come together?
get some candles and some salt, we'll raise Kravos and we'll ask him.
Or not.
Pussy.
He was not a nice guy. I don't really want to, no.
Third time's a charm.
Yes. Yes, yeah, because
Give him a chance.
Yes, you're right. I'm sure he feels much sorrier now that Dresden has kicked his ass in life.
It's been like almost 20. Well, it's been about 20 years. Dude's had some time to do some thinking.
Right?
Maybe he wants...
Maybe he's honed his craft a little more.
No, yeah, even better. Great, thanks.
Maybe he's repented.
Maybe.
You don't know.
Yes, he's found Jesus.
He could have.
Maybe.
So Dresden concludes that he has to go to the mansion and kick some ass and save the day. He's figuring that he has to do this.
This is always a fun time in TV shows and movies, though, when one person is just spouting nonsense, and the other person is like, okay, so you've clearly lost it, and then, like, the best friend is like, no, let him speak. It's like, thank you, Michael. Yeah. Shut up, Thomas. You don't know.
Right?
Yeah, so it's like, even though, if Thomas wasn't there, Michael would have been the one being like, yeah, you've lost it. But now that it's like Harry and Michael versus Thomas, Michael's like, yo, don't you dare talk about my best friend like that. He knows what he's talking about.
Exactly. Yeah, he's like, whatever. He's like, we'll go get Bianca. And he's like, did you get hit on the head when I wasn't looking? He's like, I told you about the guards and the machine guns. I did mention the machine guns, didn't I? He's like, yeah, already passed that.
And then we got the legendary scene you don't get to see.
Don't get to see?
It's never like a mystery, Harry literally always says, and then I did something without you.
And then I had an idea, and then you're in the middle of it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I went to go do something. Okay. I guess we'll meet up later. It almost feels like we're always like I can't think of any specific example, but it's like, like Phineas and Ferb or something like that. Like every time they go to like build the machine and all their friends are like so excited to be involved in it. And then they're like, Buford, you go over there and do this. And he's like, aw, I wanted to go to space too. Or whatever, like just the last minute, then send someone away. It's always us. It's like right when things getting interesting. It's like, okay, bye. Right. Pick up later. It's like, no, wait, what are you doing? But this one is actually quite...
Does that make like all of
coming.
us Alfred the Butler then?
Yes, we are.
We're highly important and we're there to get all the... Yeah, and it's like, hey, Alfred, you just stay here and watch the Batcave. I'll be back in a bit.
Yeah. Oh.
Like, Harry, no.
Dresden, Michael, and Thomas and Bob cross into the Nevernever near Harry's apartment. And Bob is there to guide them through the Nevernever to Bianca's place, because that is the wild idea that Dresden thought would be a good one.
Sneak in the back door that way.
Right. Bob totally lectures Harry on what a bad idea it is.
I know, like the whole time he's like, I don't want to be here, you don't want to be here, we shouldn't be here, let's just go, I don't want to be here, this is a bad idea, let's not.
There's a really funny moment with that. How he's like, Dresden tells him, less talk, more guide, but Bob's response is, Si, Mem Sahib. Do you know what that is? Yeah. It's a respectful term of address for a European woman in colonial India.
Yes.
Yes, master.
Watch,
yes,
like,
my female master.
The Little Princess and things like that you'll get some of that there. But always Bob. Yes, sneaky little bugger.
What's funny too is that Thomas like laughs like he understands, and like I understand like the other vampires who like are a couple hundred or thousands of years old and might have actually been around when the term was used. But like as we'll learn later in the books, Thomas is literally 45, not like looks or no, at this point 35 or whatever. 30? At this point 30.
30. He's 5
at this
years
point
older
30.
than Dresden.
Right. So at this point he's like 30. And real 30, not like looks 30. He is just 30.
Actually 30.
Right? And he's laughing like, hi, I totally understand this ancient insult. Right? And it's like, buddy.
Although
you're just laughing around, you're just laughing along, trying to pretend like you totally get the joke, and you totally don't.
Maybe not, but in all fairness, his dad is like several centuries old. So
you think his dad is just going around calling people that?
Okay, no, but I'm just saying, I grew up with a lot of like like old-fashioned like television and movies and sayings and things because my parents were like a bit older and I was exposed to more of that stuff. So you never know. I mean, maybe not, but you know, maybe Thomas has, and who knows? Rafe is kind of weird. Like, who knows what kind of weird homeschooling he would have made Thomas do? Like, for all we know, he's.
I was gonna say, I don't think Thomas and his dad ever
Princess.
had ball games together, you know? Like,
No, but he would have stuck him away with some dusty old tutor that would have taught him about colonial India, I'm sure.
sure.
Maybe
I'm just saying it's possible, all right?
Well, I watch a lot of TV, and I've never heard the word before, so I don't think Thomas is any better than...
Wait, where did Butcher hear it from?
Yeah.
Maybe he read The Little Princess.
Oh, was it from The Little Princess?
Well, that's what I was saying, is they do use those
wasn't
terms
listening
and
to you.
stuff like that. Yeah, well, read the book and or watch the movie, like the Shirley Temple version and stuff like that.
There's a
and
Shirley
yes, that's
Temple
how they-
version?
Oh my god. Yes,
What are we
dear.
talking about? I'm
The
thinking
Little
we're talking
Princess.
about... Oh, The Little Princess. Okay.
Or are you thinking The Little Prince?
I was thinking The Princess Bride.
Oh,
Oh, God.
What is
different.
that? Because
No.
I've seen that. I know that. And I was like, I don't know this at all. But yes, The Little Princess. I do know there's a
Yes.
Shirley Temple version of that. I
Yes.
have seen it.
Which
Not
was
enough
set
to know
in colonial.
random insults that come from that. If it comes up in The Little Princess, then I will give Butcher the benefit of the doubt and Thomas for having seen that one, because I've seen that one. So I'll allow them to have also seen it.
There you go.
Okay.
I'm
moving on.
glad we can reconcile that.
Too many princesses, okay? Can't keep track of them all.
Just too many.
so they make their way through the Nevernever and end up in Fairy. Dresden implores them to get through it as soon as possible.
I know, he's like, Bob, you screwed up, we're in fairy. He's like, of course it is. Like, almost all of it is fairy, you dumbass. He's like, well, fuck.
Yeah, either we get the Disney version of Fairy with elves and Tinkerbell pixies who don't know what who knows what sugary cuteness, or we get the Wicked version, which is considerably more entertaining but less healthy.
Right? Yeah, even summer's not all sweetness and light. So, yeah, so they start trying to go through, and he's like, okay, over that bridge, and you're almost home. And then, lo and behold, you hear the
horn.
hunting horn and the baying of hounds.
They book it. They just start to running.
Yeah. Which is kind of funny because he's like, this is where Michael's like got a busted rib and is older, obviously, than Michael and Thomas and doesn't have, the supernatural strength and stamina. And he's still booking it along, and Harry's like, and then, like, Michael's still gonna, like, make it to the bridge before him with, like, his busted rib and his giant, like, 400-pound broadsword, It's like, Harry, really, man? Gotta start doing some push-ups or something.
Seriously. I really like, though, this, like, just, first of all, Bob is amazing and everything, but, like, you gotta consistently remember that Thomas is just always in the background witnessing all of this comedy show playing out, right? And you just got Bob being like, oh my god, it's your godmother. Hi, Leah. It's been so long. Hi. And then it's like, Bob, I'm going to join her pack if she catches us. And he's like, oh my god, there's been a falling out. And you've just got to know Thomas is on the sidelines being like, writing down notes like, what the fuck is going on with these people? Like, really, again, this is all Thomas's fault, and he ruined everything, and he's the reason that everything ever happens to Susan. We really cannot forget that everything lies at Thomas's feet for this blame. But at the same time, I really almost feel for Thomas standing on the sidelines like, really threw it all away for these guys.
What kind of crazy people did I, right? It's so much like when Spike gets chipped in Buffy and can't feed, so he finally comes back to them for help, and it's like the Thanksgiving episode or whatever, and they're all running around as chaos happens. He's like, these is the crack team that foils my every plan, They're like, shut up.
One of the best episodes in the universe of TV.
Right?
So good.
Like, this is what's holding the world together. We're so fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's pretty much everyone who looks at Harry. So good. Like, this is what we're relying on.
Oh, crap.
Great. Hard to believe this guy ever gets hit in the face.
Yeah, just when Dresden almost makes it to the bridge, he is caught by Leah's lariat.
Oh, that's not fair.
Yeah.
That's cheating, Leah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
only Wonder Woman's allowed to do that.
Yeah, she shouldn't be allowed to have that. You've got so
Right.
many other tricks in your bag.
She has like all the tricks in her bag.
Leah, upon her black steed, greets Harry. Feeling better, are we? Leah asked with a slow smile. That's wonderful. We can finally conclude our bargain.
Oh, Leah. You ruin everything.
Ugh. Such awful timing.
And like, really, like of all the time constraints, this is the most time constraint, Leah. Like, fuck off.
Always, right? There's never a good time, I guess, to battle your fairy godmother.
Hey.
Oh, well, Cinderella was smart to avoid that.
Right? She played by the rules.
This concludes our episode 8.18, Exorcisms and Seduction. Thank you for listening. You can find us online at freeflowrambling.com and McAnallys.ca. There we have links to our other podcasts, social media, and other fun tidbits. Please subscribe if you like what you're hearing, and please consider supporting us through Patreon to keep the magic alive and to see more content. We are Free Flow Rambling. Conjure by it at your own risk.